Meet Isaiah, a bright and ambitious high school student who's always been overlooked and underestimated. Despite facing constant bias and discrimination from his teachers, Isaiah refuses to be defined by their low expectations. Through relentless hard work, determination, and the support of his family, he sets out to prove that he is not only capable but the best. This is a story about resilience, standing up for yourself, and shattering the barriers others place in front of you. Isaiah is about to show the world that greatness can't be ignored. In a quiet corner of Atlanta, Georgia, a boy named Isaiah stared out the cracked window of his room, watching the morning sun rise behind the ragged rooftops. The air smelled of fresh dew and asphalt, a scent he'd come to know like a friend. Isaiah adjusted the collar of his shirt, ironed to sharp perfection, and picked up his backpack. It was his first day of senior year. The school had never been kind to him. He knew what was waiting: the stares, the assumptions, the teachers who looked past him. But this year, Isaiah carried something different: purpose. Isaiah walked into Southridge High with practiced calm, nodding silently at the security guard who always watched him twice as long as the other students. He took his seat in AP Physics, his favorite subject. Mr. Reynolds, a gaunt man with thin spectacles, looked over the class and paused when his eyes met Isaiah's. "You're in the wrong class," he said flatly. Isaiah blinked. "No, sir. This is AP Physics." Mr. Reynolds looked again at his list, squinted, and sighed. "Sit down then." The class snickered. At lunch, Isaiah sat alone. It had always been this way. He preferred books to people, numbers to noise. But the loneliness pressed in heavier this year, like gravity had shifted. Weeks passed. Mr. Reynolds rarely called on Isaiah even when he had the right answers. During labs, Isaiah was assigned cleanup duty. When he asked a question, Mr. Reynolds often replied, "Why don't you check the basics again?" In English, Ms. Cromwell once read an essay aloud that Isaiah had written but didn't credit the author. When a student asked who wrote it, she shrugged and said, "Someone who finally paid attention." Even when Isaiah excelled, the praise was missing. He began to wonder if they even wanted him to succeed. One night, Isaiah sat with his grandmother on the porch. She was the one who had raised him, the one who taught him about resilience. "You can't fight the storm by waiting for it to pass," she said. "You stand tall in it. You show them the sky don't belong to them." Isaiah nodded slowly. That night, he made a plan. He proved to everyone, including himself, that he belonged. Not just belonged, he would rise. He joined the academic decathlon team, where he was met with skepticism. "Are you sure you can commit?" the coach asked. "I'm sure," Isaiah said. He spent nights studying, mornings rehearsing speeches, weekends solving math problems. He started submitting essays to national competitions. He aced his AP exams with scores of 5 across the board. Still, the teachers remained cool. Mr. Reynolds once said to him, "I'm surprised you've kept up." Isaiah replied, "You shouldn't be." In January, during a school-wide assembly, the principal announced the nominees for the State Scholar Award. When Isaiah's name was called, there was an audible pause in the crowd. Later that day, Ms. Cromwell pulled him aside. "Just so you know, there are politics involved. Don't get your hopes too high." That night, Isaiah didn't sleep. The doubt returned like smoke under a door. But then he read the letter he had tucked away in his drawer, the acceptance to MIT. Full scholarship. Recommendation letters glowing from 2 out-of-state professors he'd met during summer programs. Proof. When the results came in, Isaiah was named state scholar. His photo was in the paper, standing beside the governor, holding the award with his head held high. At school, the shift began slowly. A teacher asked him to mentor freshmen. Mr. Reynolds offered him an internship lead. Ms. Cromwell gave him a book and simply said, "Well done." Isaiah didn't smile to please them. He smiled for himself. For every ignored hand he'd raised, for every time he was called a mistake. Graduation day arrived. Isaiah gave the valedictorian speech. His voice was steady, strong. "We are not what others expect of us. We are what we decide to become." As he stepped off stage, applause rang in his ears. He looked out at the crowd and saw his grandmother, tears in her eyes, her hands clasped in pride. Isaiah had proven them wrong. More importantly, he had proven himself right. He was never the mistake. He was the standard. And now the world would have to catch up.